If you're the parent of a teenager, this might actually sound familiar. You find it really difficult to get them to wake up in the morning. They almost always miss the school bus, or you constantly have to drop them off in school. You're getting reports that they are falling asleep in class, especially during the first periods, and you're finding it hard to get them to fall asleep in the evening. This is something that is so common. And then on the flip side, what you're noticing is that they are sleeping in for hours on end on the weekend, such that they're not waking up till 12 noon or 1 p.m. And they're absolutely completely missing the entire weekend. You are not alone. I'm here to tell you today about some of the things that happen with your teenager during sleep, which makes it really hard for them to wake up on the weekends. And also to answer that question, which is, should I just let them fall asleep and stay asleep because they've had a really rough week? There are pros and cons to this. We know, to start off, that sleep is so important for our teenagers. Good sleep means a better immune system. Good sleep means better metabolism, decreased risk of obesity. Good sleep means less frequent illnesses. Good sleep means better athletic performance. Good sleep means they're learning. Good sleep means that they have better emotional resilience, less anxiety, less depression, better executive decision making, and safety, right? Less drowsy driving. These are all the benefits and more of good sleep. But we do know that our teenagers go through these physiologic changes as they approach, puberty. And so what happens is your previous teenager that would go to bed at, 8 p.m. and would be asleep, when they were much younger, now it's 11 p.m. and they're telling you they're not sleepy, right? And on the flip side, you're noticing that they're not waking up naturally at 7 a.m. In fact, you're going into the room, you're trying to drag them out of bed. It's really, really hard because there is a delay in the melatonin production, which makes it hard for them to fall asleep and makes them want to sleep in even more. So the thing about it is, this is physiology. This is completely normal. But the problem is that the environment and, the way our system is structured with the school systems and things like that, it is completely opposed to these natural rhythms. And this is why they get into trouble. This is why they are struggling so much. And this is why you're so frustrated. So it's a physiologic thing. But I think on the flip side, you may want to say, well, they're not getting enough sleep, right? They're not sleeping till 12 midnight because they are just not sleepy. They're on their devices, they're on social media, or they are just stressed and trying to finish up homework because their schedules are bursting through the seams. But they have to wake up super early, 5 a.m., 6:30, depending on what time you got to pick the bus. So they're driving or they're going to catch the bus super early in the morning. And then your thought and their thought might be, okay, well, I'm just going to catch up on the weekend. And this is where that like extra sleep comes in on the weekend, which is, should we let them keep doing this? Is this beneficial or not? So here is my take on this. Getting enough sleep is so critical. It is so fundamentally important that if your child is chronically sleep deprived, please do what you can to try to get them enough sleep. On a long-term basis, having them sleeping for excessive hours on the weekend is not the solution. The reason why, one common reason why, is what we call social jet lag. This is a phenomenon where your child really is getting a complete misalignment of that circadian rhythm, that internal rhythm that lets them know when to wake up and when to go to sleep. It is completely disrupted on the weekends if they are, typically during the week waking up at 6 a.m. and now they're waking up 6 hours later, right? Think about that 6 hour time zone, 6 hour difference in time zone. That's like traveling to Europe and things like that. So they're completely out of alignment. And then by the time it's Monday, right, it's school day again, they got to get back and try to wake up super early. And this jet lag actually creates physical symptoms, can create GI discomfort, can create a lot of insomnia, can create, fatigue and excessive daytime sleepiness during the day. Not good. So that's not the solution. So if your question is, should I just let my kids sleep in excessively on the weekends to try to catch up? I would say you need to help create boundaries, right? You need to help them create boundaries. And here are some of my top strategies in helping them create those boundaries. The first is helping them understand that, number one, this on the long run does not help you. Number two, you're missing out, right? I'm sure you might have family activities or things like that where they really can't engage in, right? Because they're so tired. If they wanted a job opportunity, they just slept through it. So that's not really realistic. So helping them figure out the why, right? That's the first thing. Number two is help them to set realistic expectations, right? I'm not saying your teen is going to now wake up at 6 a.m. on a Saturday or a Sunday morning, right? But maybe 1 to 2 hours. So they can sleep in about 2 hours. I usually recommend not going more than about 2 hours or so, right? Because the likelihood of that jet lag really, really kicking in increases the more they sleep in. So they may need your help to get out of bed and then do other things. Number three, what are those other things? Find ways to inspire them to get out of bed. So if it's a Saturday and nothing is happening, then there's really no motivation to get out of bed. So they just want to sleep in. So it may look like making some special breakfast. It may look like a family outing, planning a family outing early. It may look like signing them up or having them sign up for like sports or exercise or the gym or something that gets them out of bed, right? Those are things that you can help troubleshoot. So something they can look forward to, with you as a family is something that will motivate them to get out of bed. So they're not sleeping in for so long. And then the other thing you can do is use light to their advantage. And you can use this during the week as well. Light is one of the strongest cues of our internal clock. So it tells our brain that it's morning. So when they wake up in the morning and are tempted to hide under the covers, open the blinds, open the windows, have them, start moving around. Even if it's artificial light, that works as well. So this really helps them reset that circadian rhythm. So this is a way you can engage with them and partner with them to making sure that they have these healthy sleep habits where they're not sleeping in excessively. So now I told you that I want you to limit that excessive sleeping over the weekend, in partnership with them. How are they supposed to catch up on sleep? Let's go back to the week. There are many reasons why our kids are not getting enough sleep. Apart from the fact that there's this physiology and the school start times that are too early and against their physiology. There's also social pressures, right? There's schoolwork, there's homework, there's social media, there's peer pressure, there's anxiety, there's depression. So those are things we want to work on realistically. So for instance, with the school pressure, it may look like helping them set, again, realistic expectations about what to do. I have some patients who are in 5 different activities. So by the time they get home, they're not getting home till about 10 p.m. And then they have dinner super late. Then they have to finish their homework. So they're naturally delayed because of their circadian rhythm, but now they're really delayed because of these external factors, right? So help them set realistic expectations, like how many clubs can they really join? We really need to be pragmatic about this. I think sometimes it's just excessive and it's affecting their health. So help them pick and choose and say, these are the things that I really enjoy in terms of after school activities. So we can set some boundaries and some margins around that, and we can buy back sleep time. So I think that's really important. So help them to choose responsibly, problem solve about how to get this done. And I think it's going to go a long way in helping them buy back time. That's one thing you can do. Another thing that you can do as a parent is be an advocate in really supporting later school start times. Studies have shown again and again that later school start times helps improve our teenagers and our high schoolers' performance, their physical health, decreased risk of drowsy driving and accidents, and so many other benefits, improved grades, improved likelihood or increased likelihood of them actually graduating, right? There's a higher dropout rate compared in those who have early school start time compared to those who have later school start times. So there are many reasons why this should be a mission of yours as a parent. And you can follow so many organizations because they already have instituted this in some school districts across the United States, in California as well, where now schools have mandated later school start times for our high schoolers. And one of such organizations is the Start School Later. Phenomenal folks who are so passionate and so committed to this work. And they will guide you on who you need to talk to, on how you need to have those conversations. Because when we really make this something that needs to be focused on, then we start to get the response we need. Because at the end of the day, a lot of the things I'm telling you about helping your teen with sleep most of it goes away if we just let them sleep when their natural clock wants to sleep. Like, most of it goes away. So be an advocate. That is really, really so important. Of course, there are other things that you can do just from a home standpoint. Have very responsible boundaries around tech use and device use, right? Limit electronic device use about 1 to about 30 minutes before bed, right? Making sure they're not drinking excessive caffeine. They're drinking a lot of caffeine, our teenagers are, because they are so tired. They are so exhausted, right? They are so sleep deprived. And so it's like this vicious cycle. But then if they drink caffeine, a lot of it is still in their system and it makes it hard for them to fall asleep. And then now we get the cycle continuing. So limiting caffeine use, I usually will say stop caffeine about 12 noon or so, just to give enough time for the body to sort of get rid of it. And then another thing that you want to do is help them to have a routine, a bedtime routine, calming activities that can help them to sleep better. Your toddler had a bedtime routine, your baby had a bedtime routine. Your teenager can have a bedtime routine that's age appropriate for them and cues their brain to say it's time for bed. And then just really being there for them. You're not coming from a place of judgment. You're not coming from a place of creating anxiety. And if they do have anxiety, there's so many relaxation strategies, there's meditation apps, there's sleep apps, there's journaling, there's so many things that you could teach them to do to improve their sleep overall. This stuff takes partnership. It does take partnership. And so back to that question again, should I allow my teenagers sleep in on the weekends? I would say to some extent. I'm not going to tell you absolutely no, because they need sleep, because most of the time they are sleep deprived. Our teens need about 8 to 10 hours of sleep. Most teenagers are getting less than 7 hours of sleep. I promise you that. And so how do we get them more sleep? It's not just trying to bank that catch up on the weekend. It's really setting boundaries and letting them sleep in a little bit on the weekend, but making sure that we work on optimizing their sleep during the week through healthy boundary setting, healthy rules around device use, and making sure that we become those advocates that they need us to be. So I hope this has been helpful. I would love you to do me a favor. I would love you to move this out there by clicking the share button and getting it into the hands of a parent of a teenager. We've talked about some practical strategies that you can use to help your child in terms of getting them to wake up early, to wake up and be alert so that they can thrive during the day. Now, one final thing, of course, if you've done all this and your child is still struggling, they might actually have a sleep disorder. One of those common ones in teenagers is called insomnia, or what we call delayed sleep-wake phase syndrome. Usually you need to be evaluated by a sleep physician. And that's really what we do at the Restful Sleep Place. We would love to partner with you to improving you and your teenager's sleep health. So you could check us out at therestfulsleepplace.com. And I also have a book that really explains all of this in detail, step by step. It's called Beyond Tired, a sleep physician's guide to solving your child's sleep problems for good. So grab your copy on Amazon. And until next time, I hope you rest well.